Hey guys, what's up? In this lesson, we're going to talk about perspective. Let's learn to make shapes in perspective using both one vanishing point or two vanishing points. Starting with one vanishing point. For this, we'll establish a straight horizontal line and mark a point in the middle. This will be our vanishing point. From this point, we'll launch the lines in all directions so you can see just how geometrical shapes are created. Okay? Everything below the horizon line will be our floor, and whatever's above is sky. That's why we call it the horizon line, guys. Come on. This means that the objects that we can see below and the ones we see above are going to be seen in a different way. If we draw a few horizontal lines on the floor, we can establish the base of our objects. For example, we're going to put this prism on this line. We can make some vertical lines and simply continue drawing through lines that we're drawing. We can determine height and the width of the object simply putting the lines at one height or another. The lines that leak from the point, that come from the vanishing point. With one vanishing point, we'll have to establish the horizontal straight lines so that in this way, they can leak correctly. When we see the second vanishing point, we'll talk about objects that have been turned. Okay, look closely. All you have to do is take the vertex of each one of the sides of the image, we draw towards the point and it generates by itself in this way. I recommend that at home you draw all of the different kinds of prisms in all the different directions. In this way you're going to understand a lot better how perspective works and where to position it. It's practicing, guys. It's what you got to do. You got to practice your art. Now, what would happen if we want one of the elements to go into a different direction? What I mean is, it's inclined and not straight, okay? For this, we'd have to establish another vanishing point. What's this line that I just did? It would go towards the point that stems from our point. Now, in the next example, we're going to see how to establish two vanishing points. Okay, look up here on the left. I'm going to make a mini example of what 2 points would look like. Okay, so to make the perspective with two vanishing points, we have to establish a horizontal line in the first point and in the second one. These points can be as in the distance as you want. All that would change would be the viewer's point of view. You can start establishing a vertical line for your object, and from there, take the lines to the points. This will make a shape straight away. As you can see, you can close the other vertical line wherever you want. From the vertices, you have to launch the lines to the points in a coherent way. Watch how we've made a box. This box would be inclined in space and is established relative to the 2 points. We can position boxes exactly in the place we want them. If we want to draw a prism on top of the horizontal line, we're going to realize that the lines are leaking, and we'll find that we're going to see the lower planes. Also, you have to keep in mind that the closer the objects are to the horizon line, the less we'll see of either the higher plane or the lower plane of that box. I'm going to place both examples on the same canvas so you can see the difference between one vanishing point and two vanishing points. look at how the last box we drew in the first example is established with 2 points in the same way as in the second example. It all depends on how you want to establish your scene. Maybe you want 1 point, maybe you want 2. I'll probably only use 1 in the scene, and if there's any elements that I want to go anywhere else, I'll use the second one. I'm going to draw 2 examples so you can understand how the scene would work if we drew 2 points or if we only drew 1. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is establish our vanishing points on a horizontal line, as we said before. Then we mark both points. For example, if we want to draw buildings, we just have to mark what direction we want them to go in, and from there, launch our vanishing points and vertical lines to generate what would be our prisms. If they go straight between each other, we can use the same line to establish the vertical lines as in other possible buildings. This is very quiet, I think. Whoops, I'm sorry. I'm going to use the shading trick in the first planes so that you can see where each thing is positioned. You can see them all the same, but with this technique, it's much more pointed out, okay? You can see it better. So as you can see, we've generated a kind of street with a number of buildings, okay? And what we're going to do is use the same line to generate different blocks in the same place, so that they're straight and positioned in the same order. I'm going to mark both points again so you can understand where they are, because they've got a little lost with the drawing. Okay, so in the next drawing, we're going to do it with just 1 vanishing point. For this, we're going to go position the horizon line, that in this case is going to be low, and we can put a point on it. From here, we can trace a number of lines that can be possible in our drawing, referring to the squares in which we've drawn, okay? We just have to draw vertical lines and run them from the point. As you can see, this one that's done completely central, okay, it's not going to go anywhere because the lines are actually on the horizon line. However, if we draw another type of building or another type of prism that's placed far away from the line on the horizon, we see how these images run from the point and the position of other elements. Okay, so in the same as in the other examples, I'm going to mark it with a little shading in the first plane. And this way you can understand much better what the position of the object actually is. Is it there? Is it here? We don't know, unless I shade it. This is what I'm doing. Well, now you've seen a number of examples. You can test out at home to try and make your own quick scenes to see how the points were established and each of the objects itself. Alright? I hope with these lessons you've learned what you need for perspective. In the next lesson, we're going to see the concrete references for our drawing. So I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye, guys! See you later!